Well, hey everybody, I'm glad you're here, and sorry about last week. I was all set to go, and I couldn't get the camera connect to my computer. Now I could use the crappy little camera in my laptop, but it really is substandard. So I apologize for canceling it at the very last minute. It ended up being an HDMI cable. It was lying on the floor, and I guess I stood on it, or somebody stood on it, and then it didn't work. So I had to go and buy a new one of those today. So that's what happens when you do these live shows. I just want to let you know, please sign up for Car Cost Canada when you get a moment. Go to carcostcanada.com, use the promo code MOTORMOUTH, which is the name of this channel, and become an expert member. It opens up a whole bunch of searches, and away you go. Oh, I forgot. I've got to do some screen grabs for Andrea for Instagram. So I've got to look like I'm talking or something. I'm answering questions. Anyway, okay, that's enough of that. All right, what's going on? Coming up on Saturday, we're going to have the Kia Sorento, the brand new Sorento with a new turbocharged engine. It's an interesting study in packaging. Let's put it that way. So wait for the review on that. Also, tomorrow, we're picking up the Volvo XC40. So that Volvo video will be on a week later. Oh, by the way, tomorrow morning, we're putting out our top 10 video, the top 10 vehicles we drove this week. And I think that we didn't choose sort of like 10 through 1. We did 9 sort of in alphabetical order, and then we only had one car that was our overall sort of vehicle of the year. So watch that tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see what you think of our choice. I think it's going to be controversial, but if you guys can see if you can guess what it is, I would love to see your guesses. Okay, we have some pictures to get to. Dwayne sent this in. It's actually not a picture, it's a drawing. He did a drawing. This is a Mazda BT50, a Ute, so he's obviously quite the artist there. There's another one. These things are incredibly popular in Australia. Dwayne, I think, is from the US, though, so he sent that in. And Victor sent me this in. Check this. This could be part of the Survivor series. This is a 92 Lexus LS 400. I believe 92, off the top of my head, was right around the very first year for the LS, and maybe a little bit earlier than that. But anyway, Victor was very happy because he got collector plates for it, and he lives here in British Columbia. And if you have collector plates on your car, your insurance premiums go way, way down. Okay, what else do we have to talk about? Well, that's it for now. Oh, the Bills are playing right now, or starting any minute in 15 minutes. So it'll be good to see what happens with the Bills tonight. All right, let's get into the questions here. The first one is from Mark Sander. Let me just get rid of that so I can see here. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Zach and family. Appreciate that. We did have a very quiet Christmas. It was different. You know what? I keep on saying this to Andrea and to the kids. It is what it is. It's like there's nothing we can do about it. It's like complaining about the weather. If it's raining, complaining ain't going to change it. It's been a pretty weird year, and it's been a very weird year. And the fact that we have to limit who we can see and what we can do, it is what it is. We'll get through this, and hopefully we'll all be getting vaccinated, and we'll be back to normal. Just think of the parties that we're going to have next December for Christmas and New Year's. That should be fun. Hey, Zach, I have an '07 Volvo S60 with 30,000 miles. Lane aid keeps turning on and off randomly on the same clear roads I drive on. Will my certified warranty cover any of the work? Well, your certified warranty. So your certified was this '07. I don't know about that. I mean, that car is now 12, almost 13 years old. So I'm not sure what your warranty covers, but a warranty probably wouldn't be going that long. So you'd need to clarify to let me know. There's more. Dealer says maybe an update would cost $190. Maybe we'll fix the problem for $190. Might not be a good answer, right? Well, I don't know the specifics of this particular car and what's going on with it. And $190 doesn't sound outrageous to me for something that could, work. Lane keep assist is probably something to do with the cameras And is there anything on the windshield? Like, give your windshield up where the cameras are a really, really good clean. What you can do is you can go to the hardware store and get very, 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 very fine steel wool, the finest steel wool you can. And you just basically clean with, like Windex, the area where the camera is. It could just be something as simple as that. Start with the simple stuff first. As for your warranty, I'm not sure what I can say about that. Hi, Jack. I get Jack all the time. That's fine. Do you know why the Mark 7.5 GTI Performance in Europe has 245 but in North America 228? I thought they have the same engine. A lot of it comes down to the fuel. They have different standards of fuel in Europe. Get this question a lot. I think that the engine is optimized for North American fuel standards. It's probably the best answer I can give you. With Toyota offering hybrids on most of their other models, could the Prius be on the chopping block? Well, the Prius is old. Like, it's an old car now. It's been out for a long time. My brother has one, and he raves about the fuel economy gets in it. I don't think so. I think you're right. They could get rid of it altogether because they've got hybridized everything else. But it's such a well-known nameplate for them. It really is their sort of halo technology. I would think that they're probably not going to get rid of it, but stranger things could happen. Velocity. What are the appropriate situations for using hazard lights? Should you use them when driving through accident zones to alert other drivers? It's not a bad thing to do. Like when you're driving on the highway and you are, like you see this a lot in Europe actually, when you're coming up to something very quickly, you want to be able to brake and flash your lights. If you're braking, then your lights are just on, right? Oh, come in. Who's at the door? Oh, have a seat, Jack. Everybody wants to know your thoughts on the NFL and who's going to the Super Bowl. What do you think?
I don't know. I think the Chiefs probably. No offense about you and your Bills, but I think definitely
could it be
the
a
Chiefs.
Seattle Bills in the Super Bowl?
It could. It's just a bit
iffy.
Bit unlikely because I feel like Green Bay
You think
might
the Chiefs are really going to do it again?
Well, they're 14-1. I mean, and the one game they lost was in overtime. So
who's going to win tonight?
Probably the Bills.
All right, thanks, Jack.
So that's that.
Say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thanks for the beer.
No problem.
This is like sacrilege. You know what's happening here? I've got a Guinness mug that my other son gave me for Christmas. So that's Irish beer, and then in goes the German beer. I don't know. Is this wrong? Anyway, I just want to use the mug, so I'll pour the beer in there. So there are your thoughts from Jack on football. Anyway, be good to have a Bills win tonight. What were we talking about? Oh, so putting your hazard lights on. Yeah, so if you're driving along and you want to alert people that the speed change is quick from fast to slow, you can put your hazards on. In fog, thick fog, I've seen it in snowy blizzard conditions, putting your hazard lights on. I don't think there's a sort of like a steadfast, you don't want to use it all the time, but if it's a really serious situation and you're feeling like you don't want to be hit, which is one of the reasons why you want to put hazards on, it's not a bad thing to do. And you're talking about being in an accident zone. So you don't want people coming up behind you quickly and then jamming on the brakes and not being really forewarned. Obviously, they're not looking. So hazards can help. Happy New Year, Zach. Would love to hear your thoughts on the Cadillac XT4 versus the Audi Q5. Well, Andrea and I really like the XT4, but not as much. I'm thinking of the CT4. The XT4 versus the Q5. Well, the XT4 competes more with the Q3 with this. It's roughly the same size. In fact, Cadillac claims that their rear seat legroom is better than the Q3, but that was the old Q3, so it's probably about the same now. I do like the Cadillac. I find it a little bit too softly sprung and the steering too light. So you have the luxury trim in the XT4 and you have the sport trim. I would lean heavily towards the sport trim, and then you can get, I'm trying to remember the name of the package now, it's off the top of my head. There's another package which changes the suspension as well, and I would opt for that because I found that the steering was really quite light, traditional luxury feel, where the Q5 is going to have more of that, European driving style. But I think the XT4 offers, if you can get it with a really good deal, some pretty good value. It's really nice on the inside. It's a pleasant car to drive. I think it looks good. I think Cadillac is doing a lot of things right with their products. But yeah, give it a shot. I'm not going to say no. I think it's definitely worth giving it a shot. Hope you had a great Christmas. Happy New Year to you and Andrea and the family. Well, we appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Hey, Zach, for new car video, the manufacturers asked to keep the comments on hold in Canada. We often find detailed reviews from other experts outside Canada before your thoughts. Okay, so Daniel, what you're talking about is when a vehicle is under embargo. And it is a source of frustration, and it typically wouldn't be an issue except for COVID, right? So one thing we have in Canada is a massive country, right? Geographically huge. So I'm here in Vancouver. There are some auto journalists here, but not nearly as many as there are in Toronto and certainly in the province of Quebec. So just imagine if you are a car company and you want everybody to have a shot at driving your car before they release their impressions of it. So what's been happening with all of these car companies, whether it's Mazda or Nissan or Toyota or any of the car reveals that we've done, they tell us, please don't publish, or we agree to the embargo before everybody in the country's had a chance to drive it. So Subaru, what they did was they had cars here on the West Coast. Then when we were done driving them, this was for the Crosstrek, they shipped them to Toronto. Then they had an event in Toronto, and then they shipped them to Montreal and had an event there. So you just think about the logistics of moving that cavalcade of cars and everything across the country is going to take weeks. So it takes weeks for that to happen. Unfortunately, we don't live in a vacuum. We have worldwide media releasing information on cars. Typically, what would happen before all of this is that I would travel all the time. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know that I flew all the time, driving different cars all over the world. So I would be able to get the first reactions of the car of anybody in the world. So that was the advantage before. I just think that for these car companies, it's just a really hard thing to try and give everybody a fair shot at the car in our country. But that's what's going on. Oh my God, that's good. I think it's better out of the mug. I tried to trade in lease vehicle, but it was negative equity since I'm only 2 years in. If I was financed, would it be any different? No, Island Merchandise, that's not exactly true. The problem with a lease versus owning the vehicle is that you're only paying for the depreciation of the vehicle, okay? But the same thing would happen is if you had a big loan on the car and you'd only paid 1.5 years or 2 years of it. By the time you go in and you want to trade it in, the buyout amount is going to be higher than what you've paid. The best thing to do is if you have a lease is to go to Lease Busters and have somebody take over your lease. So we'll do it like this. I sign a piece of paper and I say, I'm going to lease your car, Honda, Ford, whomever it is, and I agree for 36 or 48 months that I'm going to pay you $499 a month to use that car, right? So what you do is you take that contract and you assign it to somebody else. So the agreement is now from, say, Honda Finance or Toyota Finance to the new person that owns the rights to that lease. So you sign that over to them. They now are obliged to fulfill the lease, which is $499 a month. And that's how it works. So get somebody to take over your lease is the way you can do it. By the way, Car Cost Canada, the sister company is Lease Busters, okay? So I'm quite familiar with Lease Busters and how it works, and I'm very familiar with Car Cost Canada, and that's how you get rid of a lease, especially if it's only 1 year or 2 into it. There's going to be somebody that'll want to take it over. Sometimes you got to sweeten the pot and give a little incentive to make that happen, but if you want to get out of your car, you can do that. West Coast says, hi, Zach. Heard the Japanese government is heading towards all-electric vehicles by 2030. Do you see Toyota and Honda going all in this direction? Well, there was a big story last week about Akio Toyota of course, the grandson of the founder of Toyota, the head of Toyota, talking about how this is kind of silly and foolhardy, I should say, because Japan wouldn't have the electricity infrastructure to supply all of the vehicles with electricity, changing the grid, all of those sorts of things. I think the loophole in a lot of these new regulations where governments are trying to implement electrified vehicles by 2030 or 2035 is electrified is now a very broad category. So I think hybrids are going to fit into that. So it's not just going to be pure battery electric vehicles, it's going to be hybrids. And you got to remember, who are some of the biggest export companies for Japan? It would be Toyota, it would be Nissan, Honda, Mitsubishi Group, and others. They are certainly going to have a lot of influence on their government about what's going to happen. But electrified could be a broad spectrum of things, which is what we're going to see in all of these jurisdictions, because you're not going to be able to replace everything with pure electric. It's going to have to be electric or hybrid electric. That's what's going to happen. Hey Zach, the Ford F-150 Power Boost is an interesting package. Increased fuel savings, more torque, and little downside. Do you believe the type of performance hybrid will be more popular in the future? Yes, absolutely. This is what I'm going back to with the previous question. It dovetails in nicely. Is you're going to start to see hybridization or some mild electrification of vehicles as we go forward to give you benefits not only for drivability but also for fuel economy. And in the case of a pickup truck, adding extra torque. So this sort of mild hybrid solution is going to be one that car companies are going to adopt. So some brands take electrified components and add them for just pure performance, right? For Porsche, for example, with their hybrid cars, is they make more powerful and faster versions of their existing cars by adding the electrification. So some brands do it for that, other brands do it for efficiency. But we're going to see more and more of that. Should I wait for the Mazda CX-30? I would wait for that. I think that I'm going to get a chance to drive it. It's in February we get a chance to drive it. So they brought out the Mazda 3 Turbo now, and then the CX-30, based on the same platform, same engine, what have you, will be coming shortly. If I was in the market for that car, I would wait to drive it. Now, you are going to be forced, if you want the turbo, to buy the GT or signature trim. I think is the CX-30 available in signature? Regardless, it's going to be the top trim. So think about that. Look at the price difference that they charge for the Mazda 3 Turbo. So that's the GT trim, all-wheel drive, turbo engine, $36,000 in Canada. So whatever the price differential is over the 2.5 liter, you can add it basically over to the CX-30 to figure out what it's going to cost. But if I was buying that, I would want that engine. Why does GM make the exact same vehicle 3 times in Yukon, Suburban, and Tahoe? Well, they're not exactly the same because Suburban is a longer version. You can get the longer version versus a Yukon and Tahoe. You've got to remember, a lot of this comes back to the old franchise networks. You it used to have like different, I'm trying to remember how it broke down. You used to have Pontiac and all of these different divisions. You didn't have all of the brands in one store, right? So these are legacy vehicles carried over from the days when there would be a Chevrolet dealer, there would be a GMC dealer. There, you know, it's basically how it all broke down, and it's basically legacy. Regards from Danielle in Rimouski, Quebec. All the best for you and your family to the new year. I appreciate that, brother. That's very nice of you. And right back at you. Hope everybody has a better 2021 than a 2020. God, that's good. That's good. Abdul is saying luxury brands charge so much as admin and docs on top of the already high prices. Mercedes charges to $5,000 on top of all the charges. Any way to address this? $5,000? I don't know. That sounds a bit over the top to me. Here's what you need to do. When you're going in to look at a car, for a Mercedes, for example, say to the salesperson and ask the general manager and say, I don't want to pay any extra service fees for this. And if they laugh at you and turn around and walk away, well, you're not going to get any discount on that. But I'm sorry, there's not a chance there's $5,000 in closing charges. Maybe they're selling you extra packages, which could be the case. But no, there's no chance. You might have them, they'll try to sneak in a $500 or $600 documentation fee, but nothing like $5,000. And go to a different dealer. If you feel like you're getting screwed at one dealer, go to another dealer. Anticipating the Sorento review, your comments on inside size with all seats down of interest. Well, Bruce, I don't want to spoil the review too much, but I'm a little puzzled by this Sorento. I like it. I was out shooting extra footage of it today. We have it for 2 weeks. I've enjoyed it. I think it looks good. It's beautiful inside. I'm just not quite sure on the packaging. Just wait for the video. This is, you said Jack. Sorry, I meant Zach. No problem, man. I get it all the time. I have a friend of mine who's South Asian or Indo-Canadian, and he says, Zach, do you find when you meet especially older South Asian gentlemen that they call you Jack? And I said, yeah. I said, taxi drivers, I'll get in the car and they go, hey, Jack. And I'm like, I just thought they just think my name's Jack. I don't care. And he says, no, in the South Asian community, the letter Z or Z is hard to say, right? So they say Jack instead of Zach. So I'm okay with that. I get that all the time. And anybody who's of South Asian heritage, I'm sure you can verify that. What do you suggest? I'm a student, 6 feet high person. So which car would be good? And that could go pre-owned or a new one. Well, 6 feet is not. That's my height. It's pretty sort of average size. Really comes down to your budget. I need a little more specifics on that. I still think that you really can't go wrong as a first car if you're a young person and a student especially to get a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla. They're plenty big enough. Oh, by the way, we have almost 200 people on board and 40 thumbs up. We can get more thumbs up than that. So that'd be really helpful. Appreciate that. So that's my suggestion. You go back to the good old standards, the Corolla and the Civic. Thoughts for running this Canadian channel? Thanks for running this Canadian channel. I'm thinking of getting a 14 Forester XT. Any thoughts? Well, it's definitely enticing. I'm editing today, actually, a Forester video for Doc Stetter Subaru here in Vancouver. I did a little video that they wanted done. And driving it again, it's a good product, but I really do miss the XT and the turbo. And speaking to the people at the dealership, they're saying that the guys that have them don't want to give them up, rightfully so. I mean, it's a great powertrain, fabulous response, really surprisingly fast, and when you get the high torque transmission, it certainly helps. So. A 2014 is now almost 7 years old. Please do your due diligence. Get it inspected. Find out the history with a Carfax, all those sorts of things. But I think that if I was going to be buying a Subaru Forester used, it would be an XT. But please make sure you get it inspected. Great product. Hey, Zach, between the CX-5 Turbo and the Subaru Outback XT, so the CX-5 Turbo and the Outback XT, which is also turbo, which is a better crossover? Both have similar performance, price, and all-wheel drive. Well, the Outback is a station wagon-derived utility, and the CX-5 is a traditional compact utility in shape. So the added benefit of the Outback is it's lower to the ground. The center of gravity is lower to the ground. It has a much better on-road feel, and it has a much more car-like ride. It is really quite quiet and smooth and refined, and the turbocharged engine, really good. Now, the biggest difference between them, other than one is a derivative of station wagon, is that the Mazda uses an automatic transmission and the Outback uses a continuously variable transmission. So for me, I actually, with the turbo in the Outback, thought it was very, very good. But that being said, I would still prefer a regular 6-speed automatic in the Mazda. So good question. Any new cars looking forward to in 2021? Just a couple off the top of my head. We talked about the Civic a moment ago. Getting a new Civic is going to be exciting. The TLX Type S is going to be coming. These are all Honda Acura. It's funny, I'm thinking of these ones. The new MDX is coming. But just off the top of my head, I think Civic, because it's such an important car, is going to be one that we'll definitely look forward to getting. Good evening from Montreal. I'm glad you're here. The classic visitor. I'm not sure what that means, but thanks for being here. I use the hazard lights the way you said, and I was pulled over by a cop and told that I can only use hazard lights when stopped. I'd tell the cop to pound sand or write me a ticket. I've never heard anything so ridiculous. Jack, you have a sick hoodie. I'm going to let him know. Jack,
Yeah?
someone thinks you got a sick hoodie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks.
He says thank you. He's all about OVO. Jack was easy to buy for Christmas. Andrea just went down to the OVO store. For those who don't know, OVO is Drake, the Canadian rapper, his line of clothes. He's OVO top to bottom, except for when he wears a Seahawks shirt. Why does it taste better in a mug? Why is that? That's good. Would you suggest avoid buying hybrid cars from Hyundai Kia given recent problems with hybrid Kona and Niro batteries catching on fire? No, these are quite isolated things. I mean, it's not like they're blowing up in driveways all the time. No, I wouldn't hesitate. Oh, somebody else said they love the McDonald's apple pie. That's from Richard.
Yeah.
Michael says Jack is styling with the Cactus Jack plus the McDonald's logo. People like it.
Yeah, it's the Travis Scott McDonald's.
Scott McDonald's collab. Well done, Jack.
All right, thank you.
That's his sweatshirt game. You should see his shoe game. Bring the Travis Scott. Is it down here?
You want me to?
Yeah, go get it. Jack's a sneakerhead too. The Irish won't be quite satisfied. Yeah, it seems kind of really evil putting a German beer in an Irish mug, but there you go. It's probably made in China anyway, so there you go. Sunny Lee is, do you think the Wrangler X4E hybrid will sell well? I don't think so. I wouldn't buy it. I mean, if I'm going to get a Wrangler, I don't know. It doesn't really do anything for me. But maybe I'm way out of step on that. What would be reliable, practical used car for a first-time driver under 5,000 Canadians? Be mostly for groceries and errands.
There you go. We're up two.
So these are. Okay, sorry. These are the Travis Scott shoes. What's so special about these? Can anybody tell what's unique about these Nikes? We don't say, Jack. Can anybody tell what's unique about them? They're pretty cool. So Travis Scott on the inside. So what are these ones?
Just Jordan ones. Royal.
And Jordan ones.
Classic.
They still smell new, brother.
I've only worn them a few times, but
yeah,
it's been raining, so I mean, don't have to wear them all.
Yeah, good one. He's got game. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, no problem.
You should see. That's just part of the collection. Man, Jack's easy to buy for. You get them OVO and Nikes. Anybody know what's special about those Nike shoes? All right. Okay, back to Pradeep is asking, what would be a good used car to buy under $5,000? It's the same answer as the previous questions. Get a Corolla or a Civic and get it inspected and do your homework and try and find the best example you can for your money. And sometimes that means spending $6,000 or $7,000, maybe save a little bit more. But yeah, a good Honda Civic and a good Toyota Corolla, you're off to the races. Gordon Winter, I miss bright colors on cars. Unless you buy a sports car, the choice is black, white, and silver. That's kind of true. Kingsley P, I've been a fan since you worked with Dagmar. Wow, that's a long time ago. When did Acura finally take the RLX luxury sedan out back and shoot it? Do you think it failed because of lack of V8 engine? The RLX, no, I just think that the RLX, I'm just trying to remember, the RLX, I think they should have just called it a Legend. That's the biggest problem. I mean, Acura just screwed up their names. They had the Integra, which was a household name, and they had a Legend. And they gave it up. I think that's the biggest problem. And Honda never made a V8. They only ever made a V6. Hi, Zach. Happy New Year. Too bad the Mark 8 Golf base will not be available in Canada after 40 plus years. Yes, I think that the United States says no thanks. I think the Mark 8 Golf it's a shame. I've driven it. I drove it just over a year ago where were we? We were in, was it Portugal? It was pissing rain. Yeah, it was Portugal, Porto. Just over a year ago. There's a video on the channel and you can have a look at it. We are going to get GTI. We are going to get Golf R. So those two are going to definitely be coming. But I think what that opens the door for is to bring in the ID3 electric car. I think that's probably the master plan eventually, but we'll have to wait and see. GV80 or X5? I don't know. I with the GV80, I liked it. I didn't love it. I'm looking at all these reviews I see popping up on my Google feed and stuff of all these people gushing about it. I thought it was good. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's nice. I just don't think it's as great as everybody else thinks it is. I think it's a nice SUV. In my opinion, the X5 is the best in its category right now. Because that inline six-cylinder engine, the X540i, is just a masterpiece. Like, that engine in that utility adds up to a winning combination. So the X5 with the inline six-cylinder engine, the 40i, is fantastic. The GV80, I liked it. I didn't love it. I think that the infotainment screen is a bit of a hot mess. I drove the G80 and the GV80 for 3 days, back to back to back, and I did a lot of driving. I had to drive all up north from Toronto to Blue Mountain and back. So many hours of seat time, I could master it. I just couldn't. And I think if you take away those quilted seats that are so prominent in the top trim, and you just look at it for what it is, it's just another, I don't know. I didn't love it as much as everybody else. But it's, there's relative value there. Are the Hilux and the Tacoma the same similar truck? Do they share platform parts? No, they don't. The Tacoma is not the same as the Hilux, which is unfortunately we don't get it. There probably are some similarities somewhere in the DNA there, but no, they're not. Hi, Zach, calling you to thank for the suggestion for watching TV show Ray Donovan. I watched all 7 seasons and I thought the show kicked ass. Thank you for the great suggestion. Well, Steve, I'm glad you liked it. Great show. So when we did the Cadillac CT5V video in the summer, we talked about Ray Donovan and how we liked the show because Ray Donovan, when he moved from Los Angeles to New York, he got a Cadillac CT6V. I think it was a V, but anyway, he got a CT6 and just looked fantastic. And the guy's just such a stud driving it. So if you haven't watched Ray Donovan, I highly encourage you to watch that. Oh, one that Andrea and I just finished, if you write this down, it's Undoing. It's on Netflix, and it's, what's her name? Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. It's only 8 shows long. It's just a 8-show arc. It's called Undoing. It's a bit of a cliffhanger, and you will like that. It's really good. Undoing. How come you have to pay $150K? It seems to me that you should have at least $1 million based on your experiences. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. I'm not sure what I can say about that. One thing I I've noticed in the last couple of months, because Andrea's been on board with the videos, is that the channel seems to be getting a little bit more attention from people saying a similar kind of thing. Like, why do you only have 150,000 subs? You should have more. People really seem to be clicking with the new format that we're doing. So I think hopefully it's just a matter of time. I think one of the things is, compared to, say, like you're probably referencing like the Straight Pipes and Throttle House, those guys are right in the key demographic for YouTube, like the meat of the YouTube market, right? So I think Yuri and Jacob are 33 or 34. I'm older than that. And I think that one of the things is there's probably sort of a bit of a bias for somebody that's a little bit older. Like you said, someone with experience. I think experience counts for something. I've been doing this a while. I was washing the dishes the other night thinking about it, and I'm 1 year away, so we're just heading into 2021. I'm 1 year away from having been reviewing cars for 30 years. I started reviewing cars in 1992. Now, I was only 6 at the time, but yeah, it's been 30 years. In 2022, I started reviewing cars 30 years ago. So 29 years now. So that's a long time. So I hope it counts for something. I hope you guys get something out of the long run I've had. But yeah, I think the comments recently have been more in keeping with what you're saying, and people are being very kind and saying, we hope you guys get some more traction. We hope so too. This is a good question. Toyota is about to unveil its solid-state battery technology. Now, regular viewers know that I went to Japan last year with Toyota for the Tokyo Motor Show. It was last November of 19. And, you know, so many questions to the Toyota executives and engineers about electrified cars, and they are so tight-lipped about their technology, but they are working on a solid-state battery system, and it could be a game changer. Reading lots of speculative articles about what that would mean for a mainline car company like Toyota with the production capacity to make 10 million vehicles a year worldwide at plants all over the planet. With their technology and scale versus Tesla, which still really uses just 1.5, 2 plants now around the world. So it's going to be very interesting to watch and find out exactly what that is. But you're right, that is what's coming. I was thinking about buying an Audi RS6, lease 4 years. What do you think about the car, the maintenance, and the reliability? Thanks. Hell yeah, get it. Get an RS6 Avant, the new one that just came out. Get it, get it, get it. Bring it by my house and we'll go for a drive. I think it's got to be the hottest looking car on the road. Hell yeah. My God, it's sex on... It's a big penis on wheels. Get the red one and just own it, man. 4 years. It's going to be under warranty. It's going to be, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you have the money to pull off an RS6 Avant, I'd get one. Hey, Zach, Telluride versus GV80 in terms of cost and ownership. What do you think? For me, it's an easy one. Telluride, hands down, is a much better vehicle, in my opinion, for what you're paying. So a fully loaded Telluride is $53,000 in Canada. The GV80 starts at $65,000. If you want to get 3 rows of seats in a GV80, it starts at $80,000. Okay, so that's almost $30,000 more just to get a 3rd row of seats in the GV80. I would say get a Telluride and then go and buy a nice used Miata for the weekends. That's what I'd do if you got that kind of money. Hey Zach, I'm originally from I'm originally from Germany. I like to see the beer bottle. If you work still on driving television, which channel you watch on YouTube for car reviews? The Fast Lane, Car Gurus, Alex on Autos. No, I don't work on driving television anymore. I am now on Motoring on TSN. For those of you who are outside of Canada, Motoring is the oldest running automotive show in Canada. It started in 1988. It's on TSN, the sports network, the Canadian version of ESPN, basically. And I'm one of the hosts on there. So I came on board just about a year ago. So working on that. As for other YouTubers, I don't watch other YouTubers on YouTube. Actually, I don't read other people's automotive reviews because I have my own opinions. I don't want to be swayed by anybody else. So I'm probably in the minority in that. I know a lot of people who are in this racket watch each other, and I don't. I don't watch them. But I do know Roman from the Fast Lane car. Roman's a great guy. We've become kind of friendly when we're on different launches. He's quite friendly. Alex on Autos, I met for the first time on the Porsche Taycan. It's kind of interesting about Alex on Autos. So he had a camera, an NX80, Sony NX80, I was thinking of buying before I bought my Canon camera. And I asked him about it. And Alex on Autos, I asked him about this video camera, was exactly the same way with the video camera that he is about cars. So he went through every single nut and bolt on it and basically talked about all of the different aspects on it. I just wanted to know, do you like it? And I think he went through, and that's the thing about Alex on Autos. He's very dialed into all of the fine details. I'm not that concerned about all the fine details. I just want to know, is it good? Is it bad? What do I like? What do I don't like? But anyway, yeah, he's a nice guy. Car Gurus, don't know those guys. Fast Lane, so Roman, yeah, he's a good guy. And of course, I know the Canadian guys, Straight Pipes and Throttle House. If not, can you take advantage of a pull-ahead incentive and get a new lease depending on the kind of contract? So someone's asking about leasing. So yeah, so what will happen is if you get an offer from your company, we'll pick BMW, for example, because BMW is kind of notorious for this. Say you've got a 3 Series lease, it's 36 months. They get in touch with you like 4 or 5 months to go, and they say, hey, Bob, Steve, Larry, Susan, whatever your name is, tell you what, we'll get you into a 2021 3 Series for the same price, and we'll forgive the last 4 or 5 months of your lease and just roll you into a new one. They're called the golden handcuffs. They will spend money to keep you in their brand, and it's good business for them and they'll often give you reductions in interest rates. They sometimes will give you a car with more content for the same price or less than the one you're currently driving. So if you have a brand that's reaching out to you and you're driving their product now and you're happy with it, go for it. Why not? Especially if it's a good car. West Coast is saying smash the like button. I like that. If you guys could do that, that'd be great. Up to 260 people on board with 116 likes. We can do better than that. Okay, so Donald Lum is saying it was Chev Olds and Pontiac Buick. I was trying to remember how it broke down. So somebody was asking about they have the Tahoe, the Suburban, and all the SUVs from General Motors. Why do they continue to have all these different lines? Well, because they used to have different franchises. So if you were a Chev Olds dealer, you didn't have access to Pontiac Buick. And I'm trying to remember who got the GMC. GMC Cadillac, I can't remember how it broke down, but there you go. Ryan Clark is here. Ryan Clark has been very supportive of the channel, and we appreciate that, Ryan. He's been reaching out on Instagram and so on. Oh, by the way, I see I have a super chat. I'm going to get to that in a second. So if you guys can grab your phone right now, do me a solid. Grab your phone and go to Instagram on your phone, unless you're watching this on your phone, and that's fine. You can do it later. So go to Instagram, and you're going to type in motormouth_Andrea, okay? And you're going to follow along, because when I go up for dinner tonight and we're having steak sandwiches, leftover steak from the barbecue, and Andrea's making them into sandwiches. So when I go up for dinner, she's going to have a whole bunch of new followers on Instagram, and I'm going to look like a hero. So it's motormouth_Andrea. So follow along, and I might get some sugar tonight. Anyway, Ryan says, what's the most memorable career highlight, a vehicle you had a chance to review? Oh man, I've had so many really cool things that I've done with this. It's not so much the cars. The cars are all interesting. It's the travel has been amazing. Traveled all over the world. You can see the map behind me, and some of it's cut off. Like I've been to South America. I've been to Africa. I've been to a lot of Europe, all of North America. So all over Canada. That has been the most amazing thing. And the one thing I miss about the travel is the ability to talk to the people that make the cars. So one of the most memorable ones, I like to tell this story. was I was in. So it's funny I mentioned South Africa. I was in South Africa with Porsche, and we were there for the Carrera GTS launch. They had the Panamera hybrid and the Carrera GTS. So the Panamera one day was driving the Panamera on the road, and we got to go and look at penguins and stuff like that. And then the Carrera GTS was at the racetrack. Now Porsche always has these retired race car drivers who are ambassadors for their brands. So Hans Stuck. So I'm sitting at dinner in South Africa on top of this building looking out the whole city with the Table Mountains there, and sitting right next to me is Hans Joachim Stuck. And I start talking to him about his famous lap around the Nürburgring in an M3 competition. And if you've not ever watched this, I highly encourage you to go to YouTube and type in Hans Stuck M3 Nürburgring and watch his hot lap going around the Nürburgring. Now, there's been cars that have gone around faster since he did this video in the 90s, but the absolute laser driving is second to none. Like, I mean, I've watched it so many times, and every time I watch it, I go, that is amazing. And so he's sitting right next to me at dinner, and I start talking to him, and he has this interesting, he's of course German, but he has this interesting, he goes, oh, this was a good day, yeah? And he says, yeah, all the time. So anyway, it's just something like that. So I'm sitting next to this guy. Walter Roll is another one. So I'm having a couple glasses of wine and a beautiful meal in South Africa with Hans Stuck. Does it get better than that? I don't know. Doesn't get better than that for me. And Walter Roll, what a nice man. Super nice guy. All right, we have a super chat here. Thoughts on X3 versus Q5? I think that they're both fantastic choices. I would suggest that probably the X3 is a bit more of the driver's car, where the Q5 is just sort of like a good all-rounder. The X3 is newer. That's 2 years ago, year and a half ago, they came out with the new X3. Fantastic. The base engine, the 2-liter, is really quite good. Now, for the Q5, they updated it for 2021 with a slight mild facelift and some refresh on the inside. But these are both good answers. They're really good answers. So just basically drive them both and see which one you like. Often with these sorts of things, it comes down to the price and the lease. Often they're leased. So go to Car Cost Canada, sign up using the promo code Motormouth, and see which one you get a better deal on. Often the tiebreaker between two products like that is this one's $75 or $100 less a month to lease it or buy it. That's often how cars are purchased. So Peter, I'm not kind of copping out on this. They're both excellent choices. So have at it. Gotta find where I was. Gotta go. I got a lot to catch up on here. I'm sorry I'm not getting all these questions, but that's what happens. Okay, here we go. Should I wait for the new GTI? I have a theory on this, and I've suggested it to other people, especially probably more for the Golf R, is that it wouldn't be a bad idea to lease a current GTI for 2 years, right? So the new one will be coming. There's not going to be a lot of fulfillment in 2021. They're coming towards the end of 2021. So starting, say, September through the end of the year. And then, then once they've started to enter into the marketplace and they're going to be easier to get, when your 2-year lease is up, there won't be this crazy feeding frenzy to get the very first GTI. So it's something you can sort of have your cake and eat it too, is do a short-term lease on a GTI, and then when the feeding frenzy is kind of settled down from the first ones being available, then you can work with your dealer and get one, the right color, the features that you want. It's something to consider. If you want to buy it, I would probably wait for the new one, because it's always going to be better. right? It's going to be better in pretty much every way. Now, driving the old Golf and driving the new Golf, the driving dynamics didn't feel very, very different. It was the interior and the way it looked was quite different. Have you heard of the 392 engine being available in the Jeep? Yes, that is going to be happening. There you go. So somebody's actually mentioned that the CX-30 Turbo is already priced at $36,000. I think that's a hell of a lot of car for the money. I didn't know they had announced the price. Colin is saying, hi, Zach and Andrew from Alberta. Here's hoping for a better 2021. Well, our top 10 video launches tomorrow morning. And I said at the very beginning, there's going to be a lot of people like to see the ass end of 2020. And I think a lot of people would agree to that. How will the banning of ICE vehicles by 2035 for EV affect those that love going overlanding and camping far out, just long road trips in general? Well, I think there's going to be a movement to people holding on to their cars and not getting rid of them. I think that's the thing. They're mandating new vehicles be sold with some form of electrification. As I mentioned, it's probably going to be a broad definition of electrified. It probably will mean gasoline hybrids or mild hybrids and full electric vehicles. But I think what's going to happen is people are going to buy vehicles and just hold on to them. And they're not going to be able to say, oh, you can't drive your car anymore. They're just saying you can't buy it anymore. So that's I think what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hoard their older vehicles. Greetings from Northbrook, Illinois. Paid cash for a 2020 CX-30 Premium, having some remorse about the engine. Would it take too much depreciation hit to upgrade to the turbo in a few years? I don't. You don't want to do it right away. You're definitely going to get a big kick in the nuts if you do that. Yeah, I would monitor what the dealer is going to give you for it. Not much I can say other than that. So you're probably right. It's going to take a few years for you to really take that initial sort of depreciation, but work with your dealer. You might be surprised. They might be able to work something out for you where you don't lose that much, but I have no idea. Hey, Zach, the Lucid Air is coming. Will you be doing a review on this car anytime soon if the company's not ready to release it to the media yet? In your opinion, yay or nay? Well, we'd love to work with Lucid Air and get a chance to drive it. Hopefully, this company is going to be a little bit more open-minded to traditional media compared to Tesla, which is like has animosity towards anything but tech people, really. Tesla reviews, for the most part, are done by tech reviewers, not by auto journalists. They don't even have a PR department. Good luck trying to get one from them. And you know what? I'm not going to chase them to test drive their car. I got lots of other cars to drive. So hopefully Lucid Air is going to be a little bit more amenable to PR and working with media outlets and people who drive cars for a living. I hope that's going to be the case because it would be a nice breath of fresh air, Lucid Air, compared to what Tesla does. Because Tesla is horrible when it comes to PR. Like bad. I missed your last week opinion on Jaguar and Land Rover. Greetings from Lima, Peru. I'm not sure what the question was, so ask away. And nice to see you here from Lima. Hey, Zach, just wanted to greet you and your family. Very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you. Appreciate that. Getting lots of nice comments tonight. What are your thoughts on the 2022 MDX? Would you take that or a BMW X3? Two different, totally different categories. One is a compact utility, and one is a sort of larger now mid-size utility. One is 5 seats, one is 7 seats. The MDX is bigger than the last model. The wheelbase is longer. It's going to be a bigger vehicle. I think it is going to be a very hard vehicle to turn away from for the marketplace when it comes to people looking for a 3-row SUV. It's not the X3 it's going to be competing against. And this is what I said. And you can watch my GV80 video that I talked about, the Genesis GV80, and they really believe that they've got that vehicle priced right and it's going to sell. And I said, wait a second, there's going to be a new MDX that has 3 rows of seats as standard equipment. And by the way, it starts at $57,000. The GV80, if you want 3 rows of seats, starts at $80,000. I know I'm kind of going off from what you're asking, but I think that it is the best-selling premium 3-row utility in the market for a reason. They've made a lot of MDXs because it's a damn good product. And this new one, I think, is going to be really, really hard to beat. It looks fantastic. They're even going to have a Type S. They're going to have A-Spec. Good-looking product. So, yeah, can't wait to get my hands on it. Is it a competitor for the X3? No, it's much bigger. All right, we have another super chat here. Let's see. Oh, TK Porsche, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Happy New Year to the Spencer family. Let's retire the virus and have a 2021. Great 20. I'll drink to that. And thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. I'll drink to that. Have you guys done it? Have you gone on? I'm going upstairs in about 5 minutes. Have you followed Andrea yet? Go on Instagram. Go and motormouth_Andrea. Follow along. And when I go up for dinner, I'm gonna be a hero. Make me a hero. Let me see. I'm gonna go to the bottom here. See if I missed anything. Like this. No stupid question, but stupid people. I don't know what you're referring to. There you go. That's funny. All right, let me see if I can go back to where I was. I apologize. Because some people say you were just about to answer my question and then you skipped away. So that's not fair, is it? You're asking, do I like Star Wars? No, I don't like Star Wars. I do not like Star Wars. I hate to offend anybody that likes Star Wars or Star Trek. It's not my jam. Was never into that. With the new Golf 8 coming soon, is there any chance to have a Golf 8 wagon? Happy New Year to you and your family. I think there's probably only a slimmer of a chance that they might bring in like a Golf R wagon as a specialty novelty kind of thing. But no, that ship has sailed, man. It's utility, utility, utility. We're going to have the new, what the hell's it called again? Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. We've got the new SUV. Hey, Zach, do you think Tacoma will be a comfortable family vehicle for a family of 3 or 4? Yes, it depends how old your kids are. I mean, it's not big, but you could do it. Yeah, I mean, you could certainly do it if you're really considering, like, how much are you going to be using the bed? So maybe a better choice is to get a 4Runner, which is body on frame, truck based utility that has a little bit more family function. But yeah, I mean, try it out and see for yourself. If it was me as a family vehicle, you could do it. I would probably prefer to have a 4Runner. I think when governments see the cost of EV cars and the infrastructure needed, they might change their ideas about banning petrol cars. I think what's going to happen is the market is going to tell them that they're not ready to just switch over to EVs. Like, you think about 2030 is 9 years away. That's only 7 or 8 model years away for the car industry. I just don't see us abandoning the technology that's been working for 120 years overnight. I just don't think it's going to happen. Daniel's asking, hey Zach, to get more members to your channel, do you think you can take 5 minutes during your show to address a specific topic about the car industry that you can promote the week before? You know what? I like to leave it up to you. What do you guys want to know about? I mean, we've touched on a whole lot of subjects tonight, like plenty of them. You're right to have a theme, maybe, to do that for a little while. But it seems, yeah, I can see your point. But this live show isn't the main thrust of the channel, as you know. It's doing the car reviews. So after a week, these get about 4,000 views. That is nothing compared to what we get for our regular reviews. So it's a nice thing for us as car guys and enthusiasts to get here and talk about. But I kind of want to hear what you want to talk about. Florin is saying, what can you disclose about the Sorento? The Sorento is a 3-row standard SUV now. doesn't isn't available as a 5-passenger. It's only a 6 or 7-passenger. It's got a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, a 2.5-liter turbo. It's really nice looking, a great interior. They always give us the top loaded one, which really look quite posh on the inside. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to steal away from the video when it comes out on Saturday. All I can tell you is I think that there are some interesting packaging choices that Kia made with this that I kind of scratch my head about. And then I think the biggest thing that I can leave you with is they sell a Telluride, and they have a Sorento, but they sell a Telluride. I don't know. I love the Telluride. I recently picked up the 2021 Crosstrek Outdoor, so that's the new larger engine. Love it. Feels fantastic on lousy Quebec roads in the snow. I love it. What's snow? I don't know what this snow that you talk of. Harpreet says your videos have good information. I believe it. I'm sorry. I thank you. It's the beer kicking in. Ah, somebody got it. The Nike logo is backwards on Jack's shoes, and apparently, that makes them worth a lot more money. I have an 05 Pontiac Bonneville GPX with Northstar V8 and Jeep Liberty for the winter. Any recommendations of sedan with all-wheel drive under 15K? Chrysler 200 looks nice, but the 9-speed is a concern. I would think, okay, I would go and look for a Dodge Charger or a Charger or the Chrysler 300 with all-wheel drive used. And you could find one of those easily under $15,000. And you can get the 3.6-liter Pentastar engine, which is proven to be very reliable. You can get a Hemi if you want, a 5.7-liter with lots of power. This is one of the most reliable cars of the whole FCA family are the, full-size sedans. So, yeah, that's what I would look for. If you want all-wheel drive, a big, comfortable, a really nice car to drive on the highway. So there you go. Okay, gang, I didn't get to everybody, but don't worry. I, of course, read all the questions. I appreciate everybody from being here. We will do this again. What's next Monday? No, it's not New Year's. New Year's is later this week. But let me see if I missed any super chats. Oh, here we go. I missed one from Mike Shaw. Before I go. Hey, Zach, why do car companies mandate auto headlights? Why don't they do auto headlights? I know you can set to auto, but so many people don't. Thanks. I think that, my colleague Jim Kenzie from Motoring TV, as I mentioned, I work on that show. He says there shouldn't even be a switch for the headlamps. When you turn the car on, they should just come on. I'm kind of with him on that. I have no idea why they have this whole switch thing. Like, turn the car on, headlamps come on. And maybe one day we'll get there. Oh, Kevin Katz. Yeah, Evan Katz. The Taos. That's right. The Volkswagen Taos. I forgot about that. All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for putting up with me last week when I couldn't technically get us up and running, but we'll be back next Monday. Enjoy your New Year's Eve, whatever that looks like. Be safe. Stay distant. Mingle with who you live with, and that's about it. And I'll be doing the same. And go Bills, go. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.